All
if
right.
if nobody else joins, I always tell people you're just going to get a free coaching call, or you're just going to sit there and listen to me talk about laundromats, and Carla will slap me.
Possible.
So
Great. Yeah.
All right. Well, I had a couple of questions.
yeah, absolutely.
So, when we were in Columbus, you mentioned that you had a new contract with Amazon.
Mhm.
And I wanted to ask you, are you doing the laundry for Amazon or is Amazon doing your pickup and delivery?
No, that's actually a great question. I guess I never thought of it that way. No, we are. So the Amazon facilities in this region, there's like, there's a bunch of them, but we have 35 of them now. Their employees obviously wear like vests and gloves and things like that that can be laundered.
PPE,
All their
personal protection equipment.
yeah, all their PPE.
Yeah.
In the winter, some of them that work on the docks and stuff wear gloves and wear face masks and hats, and they're all Amazon provided PPE for the job, and we're laundering all that for them.
Okay. I
So we
had a
gotta they don't deal directly with us little guys. They always go through big, huge contractors, right? And it's the contractor's job to like figure out how to get all this done. And so they come to providers like us and try to outsource, the labor and the logistics and things like that. So they had went through this contractor had reached out to us and they had already been through probably 10 or 15 different laundromats. And most of them were just like average everyday laundromats that, some of them don't even do drop off, so they're not going to be very well positioned to do. I mean, it's like 20,000.
Thousands and
Yeah, it's like
thousands of
20,000
pounds.
pounds a month
Wow.
right now.
Mm.
And
Wow.
you'd have to have a pretty, like, if they approach you, you'd have to have a pretty robust operation. One, they require a lot of administrative work. So they have their own dashboard. You have to upload pictures. You have to upload pounds and pieces. You have to count every piece. You have to send an invoice through a special invoicing system. Like, you have to have a pretty robust administrative team to be able to handle just the administrative aspect of it.
Our
Most
assistant GM
laundromats
is
don't.
doing the administrative part full time
Yeah,
right
yeah.
now,
She
just for
literally,
Amazon.
yeah. I was in a meeting. It's been going on for about 3 months, and I was in a meeting with her yesterday, and she's like, "Just so you know, this is all I'm doing. Are you okay with that?" And I was like, "Well, yeah. It's like $100,000 a month. Yeah, I'm okay with it."
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
and she was like, "Well, just so you know, other parts of my job aren't getting done." Like, okay, well, we might want to make sure somebody's doing those. We've got a pretty robust team. You'll see when you're in Cincinnati, but it's a beast. It's an animal for sure. That we were just talking the other day. I mean, we have a management team of 6 people. We have store managers at each store, and then we have an assistant GM and a GM that basically run the organization now. And as recently as 5 years ago, we just had store managers at each store and then a GM, but we didn't have an assistant GM. And I can tell you, if this opportunity came our way 5 years ago, it would have ate us alive. Even though we had 5 of the 6 people we have now. So I always say catching a whale is a lot of fun if you're ready for it.
Right.
And I'd say in the last like 2 years, we're probably just now ready for it. So it's worked out really well for us and the contractor because the contractor has gotten kind of a really quick dose of reality of what the laundromat industry is. They thought they could just send any laundromat thousands of pounds and, they could handle not only the laundry, but the logistics because we're doing all the pickup and delivery. And in some cases, these warehouses, we're in Cincinnati, but there's 9 warehouses in Indianapolis. So, I mean, like, you got to figure out the margins and the labor and the costs associated with doing that. And then you have to have the manpower and you have to have the vans to be able to send them, basically all day to pick up 5 locations, for example. We can't even pick up all 9 at one time. So we'll have to go to the Amazon facilities, the total of 9, at least twice, if not 3 times a month, just for Indianapolis. And we're doing Columbus, we're doing um, Dayton, we're doing Cincinnati, obviously, we're doing Louisville and Lexington right now. So we're doing all those kind of regions, basically any regions that they can give us around us. So,
Well, we're not doing all they could give us. They're trying
well,
to give
that's
us
true.
more. We limited
Yeah,
like no more
we
than
actually,
4 hours.
yeah, we actually had, yeah, they're
Maybe
having a
eventually. Right now,
they're having
four
a lot of
hours.
problems with the laundry providers. Like I said, some of them think they can handle it, and then when they get involved, they realize it's too much because it's a lot. It's a lot of volume, but it's also a lot of administrative work.
Yeah.
So anyway, it's been great for us. It's been a huge blessing for us, and we'll probably double our business in the next year, which we already had a pretty substantial business. But it's one of those things where, I always say that the UPS, the dog that caught the UPS truck, he chases the UPS truck because he wants to catch it. If the dog ever catches the UPS truck, he's going to wish he didn't catch it because he don't know what to do with it. And that's kind of what we would have been dealing with in the past, and I think most laundry providers are now. So they have,
Well, we've even talked about the possibility with this company of because they're struggling so much to find laundromats to do this, the possibility that we might help them find owners other places in the country and train them
yep,
once we've got all of our systems and processes and everything down for it. Because I mean, one, it's a beast just volume wise, but we've also had to, like, they don't want to do by the pound, they want to do by the piece
mhm.
because that's the way Amazon pays them. And so we had to figure out the whole pricing structure and bid the
Labor
count
structure.
perfectly, like
Yeah.
completely differently than we have other accounts. There's a lot we've had to figure out,
Mhm.
and we're still, fine tuning. But
Yeah,
yeah,
we're probably 90% of the way there. So
yeah.
we've kind of got it down. Like she said, they're trying to give us more areas than we can even handle. But it's a blessing, but it wouldn't have been a blessing even a few years ago. So we're pretty grateful for it now. But as she mentioned, they're now coming to us and they're like, okay, you can only handle so much, even with your operation. Who do you know in the industry?
Right.
And we're like, well, we know a few people that have, been to our workshop 3 years ago and they've ramped up and built up a structure and they have a GM and all that, and they can probably handle this. But we've had to help them realize on their own and somewhat through us, like coaching them, like, hey, most people in the laundromat industry aren't at our level operationally,
Mhm.
Right.
and so you're going to have to, if this program nationally is going to be successful, you're going to have to pick and choose. You're kind of looking for needles in a haystack. So, as she mentioned, we have some friends in the industry that we've been coaching for years and have really built up a pretty robust operation, but they're 8 hours away from us or whatever, and we're able to kind of send them their name and say, hey, I think they can handle 10 or 20 locations, and then we're right now kind of coaching our friend. Our friends are like calling me like, tell me what to do. I'm like, well, all I can tell you is this is what we did so far. It's worked, but it's a beast for sure.
Did
But
you have other questions about the Amazon account?
Well, I think that we're interested in being one of
Mhm.
those sites. We do have a similar operation with the
Mhm.
county.
yeah,
Nice.
We like it. We like it. It's about 20,000 a month.
nice.
Oh, nice.
Quite. But so John's done a lot of work to figure that out. And so
Okay,
Mhm.
looking to scale that
we're
up.
not discount.
That's something that we're actually interested in talking about.
Yeah. And the other reason I asked the question was I have a friend in New Jersey
Mhm.
who I talked to on Monday, and he said he received a letter from Amazon advertising pickup and delivery
Mm,
through Amazon. So I know there's the Amazon core, and then there's there what Amazon providers, Amazon contractors, which
uh-huh.
is companies that do delivery for Amazon. I
Yeah.
don't
Mhm.
know if it's those folks,
Huh.
just like Sense can work with DoorDash and
Right.
Uber and all that, and I'm wondering if Amazon's trying to jump in on that market.
I wonder
Maybe.
if they're trying to like make their own little Poplin service.
Yeah, something like that.
I
Yeah.
don't know. I do know that one of we was it probably 2 or 3 workshops ago, we had someone attend, Oliver, remember him?
Yeah.
And he owned, I'm probably gonna butcher this, but he owned a team of Amazon logistics,
It's almost like an
but it's a
Amazon
separate business.
franchise. Like,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
Amazon doesn't own all its own trucks and everything. They basically get people to become their Amazon delivery system. Does that make
and you
sense?
and you
So
buy
even
into the
that,
right
you
to do
buy
it.
the right to be an Amazon delivery company. And so he like had a fleet of Amazon trucks and he
Yep.
did the
And
logistic for
drivers.
Amazon. He was saying like Amazon doesn't even do their own deliveries anymore. They
Yeah.
do the rights to deliver, and then they have almost like franchisees for the delivery
Yeah.
portion.
And
Yeah.
he was saying he does like with I think it was like 10 or 15 trucks that he does like I don't know $10 million a year, whatever it is in deliveries. And I was like, is that a good business? And he was like, nope.
Apparently, the margins are not
And he
good.
was saying it's like 2-3% margins.
Mhm.
And he was like, they have very strict rules and they big brother you to death. And he was not a fan. He was like, I mean, I make money, don't get me wrong, but he goes like it's not even a business that I could sell because like I don't own the rights. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? So anyway, the reason I bring that up is that I know about that, which I didn't even know that was a thing. I thought Amazon like had their own. I mean, they're using Amazon trucks and
Mhm.
Right.
uniforms and everything else, But I guess what I'm saying is I'm kind of wondering out loud if someone like that in your market or in New Jersey, wherever it is, are trying to outsource their labor
Could be.
on a like contractor basis, almost like DoorDash.
Mhm.
Like it,
Yeah.
it kind of makes me wonder if they're doing that, and I wonder if they're even allowed to do that.
Yeah, I
Or
don't
if
know.
they, I don't
Yeah,
know
we
if maybe
probably,
they have Amazon trucks, like if they're like Oliver was, they have Amazon trucks that aren't being utilized all the time.
Right.
They're like, hey, what if these
Yeah.
trucks did
Yep.
some laundry delivery
Yep.
for some of the
That's kind of
laundromats?
what
Is
I'm
that what you're
thinking.
thinking?
But I would think Amazon would poo-poo that real
Yeah, I
quick.
don't know if
But
they
I
allow
don't know.
like you
I don't
to
know if they
take
have
on
the right.
extra jobs.
Yeah,
I
I
don't
don't know. But that's interesting. I can't
yeah.
imagine they're doing
He
like
was
a
worried it
pop-up
was a
service.
scam, and he was asking me if I
Yeah.
had
know.
heard anything about it or received a letter, and
Well,
I
I can tell you this, so you could pass this along to your friend. To my knowledge, Amazon doesn't deal directly with us little guys. And by little guys, I mean like 10, $20 million a year businesses.
Mm.
We're like, they don't deal directly with us. They go through contractors. So I posted some of this on like social media about doing this. And interestingly enough, Amazon contacted our contractor immediately and told us to take it down.
Oh,
I was
really?
not allowed to post that, so I did delete it.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I didn't even tell you that, but yeah, not allowed to do that. Had legal had to approve that, and I was like, okay, fine, I'll take it down. And then we've also had some conversations around like people reaching out to me since I did post it, and they're like, hey, we're in, whatever, Louisiana. They're like, hey, can you help me get in with Amazon? And I
Mm,
was like, well, all I can tell you is like you're not going to actually talk to Amazon. They won't talk to you.
mm.
You're going to have to find whatever contractor is the provider for your region, because that's another thing our contractor told us is that they only handle right now the Midwest. And they're hoping to get other regions throughout the country by proving that they can do this successfully. But apparently, even when Amazon puts out contracts for contractors like this, they only do it based on a region, and then they have to like prove themselves before they can earn another state and another state and another state. And there's apparently a bunch of these huge contractors that deal with the Amazons and Teslas and Googles of the world, to try to work with them. So it's been quite a learning experience for sure, even with us just kind of being the laundry provider at the end. And then we also did that. So at first,
Hey,
the
Craig.
contractor, hi Craig. Um,
Hello.
at first, the contractor also brought in all the labor to all the laundry to us. We didn't do any of the logistics, and we had to earn. Basically, it was drop off laundry for us. They would go pick it all up from the warehouses, bring it all to us, and drop it off by the truckload every day almost.
We're talking about the
And we
Amazon
had to
orders that we've
yeah, and
gotten.
we had to prove to them that we could handle the laundry first, and then they came to us like 8 weeks later and were like, "Hey, do you think you can handle the logistics?" And we were like, "Well, we think so. Let's talk about it." And we talked about price and all this different stuff, and we just trained a couple weeks ago on it, and we're actually launching. We're doing all the pickup and delivery now too, and that's a different price point. They pay you separately to do the logistics,
Which was
and
another
it's
beast because you have
yeah.
to like get clearance to enter the
You have
Amazon
to do background
facilities and
checks and
everything.
oh, it's insane. But it's so we honestly have two different contracts with Amazon, one for the labor or one for the laundry and one for the logistics, and both of them are very lucrative. But they're both big beasts. I mean, they're big beasts for sure. But I'm excited for the industry because I've told the contractor, I'm like, look, I know you have this problem and I know the industry pretty well. I know a lot of people in the industry. My goal was always to prove to them that we could service them first, and once we earned their trust, be like, hey, we think we can help you navigate in the industry, like who you should be giving these contracts to, just based on who we know and if we've coached them and they've been to workshops, and that doesn't mean we know everybody that's successful and scalable, but we probably know a lot of them. And so we're hoping to kind of you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. And we're like, hey, if we can refer business on to our friends in the industry, we all win, is the way we look at it. So anyway, yeah, I see Nick joined and Craig and Michelle are here. They were asking, John and his wife was asking about the Amazon thing. So now we have another one join. Hi, Esther. So I haven't said this, so I will start with this. Welcome. I know we have a few new people and we probably have a few more jump in. If you've been on our monthly Q&As before, you know the routine. But if you haven't, if you click on the chat on the bottom, it'll open up a chat over to your right-hand side of your screen, and you can just type in questions over there or comments or even chat with each other and help each other out. This is a community. But you can also just turn on your microphone or your camera if you want and ask questions that way. There's an emoji down there that you can click on it says raise hand and it'll put a little hand emoji up. That'll let us know you have a question. Or if you just have your camera on, you can just raise your hand like that too. And we'll try to get to as many of them as you can. I know some of you are still joining and we're 20 minutes in, but we'll be here for about an hour. And if this is your first time doing this, we do it every month for our community members. We do ask that you keep your microphone muted if you're not asking a question, just so we don't pick up the dogs in the background and door slamming and stuff like that. But if we call on you and you have a question and you want to just ask it verbally and you're comfortable turning your camera on, feel free to do that too.
I
But
know, John, you said you had a couple questions. So we
yeah,
kind of talked about the Amazon. What was the other thing you wanted to talk about?
Well, you had mentioned your GM, and I
uh-huh.
was wondering at what point did you know you were ready to hire a GM?
Yeah.
Was that a financial trigger or was it more of a time issue?
So that's a nuanced question. I'll try to give you a quick answer because I know we have more people joining every minute. So my GM, Marlene, who you will meet at the workshop, is a rock star. She's also a personal family friend of ours. I've known her since I was 18 years old. And she came on as my first manager when we had two stores. We were unattended. We were open 24 hours a day, and I was working a full-time job. So when she came on, she was part-time, and she first came on as a trainer, not even a manager, and very quickly became our first manager and went full-time with us. So we didn't have an actual GM. Uh, Gosh, it would have been probably 5 years in. And what I kind of tell people is a lot of it's based on like your lifestyle. Like I was working a full-time job and at that point had three stores and was, you know, we had changed our model from self-serve and unattended to full service. We weren't doing pickup and
Yeah.
delivery yet, but we were doing drop-off laundry. We were adding attendance to all of our stores. We went fully attended. We weren't open 24 hours anymore. Like we were on our way. We were in the middle of a journey to being full service, if that makes sense. And so I recognized because I had a full-time job that I needed someone, Carla had her own career. And at that point I had asked her, she wasn't interested in joining me in the business, Queen City
I've
Laundry.
always done all the bookkeeping, but
Yeah.
I wasn't really in the
And she didn't
store
like
doing
want to be the
stuff.
manager, and
Yeah.
work in the stores with me. And it was too much for me. So it was partially a financial decision because like I said, I brought on a manager, but she really wasn't paid very well. And I basically apologized to her for 5 years. It was like, I know you're not paid what you're worth. Hang in there with me as we grow this company. And every chance I get, I mean, there were some years we gave her 3 or 4 raises in 1 year because we could afford to. But there was also easily the first 4 to 5 years, she was 50% paid what she deserved to be paid. And she knew it, and I knew it. And I just apologized and said, hang in there with me. We're growing this together. So I still tell people this day, Queen City Laundry, a lot of people think was built by me and Carla, and it wasn't. It was built by me and Marlene. Carla was the bookkeeper, but she had a career and she was a single mom because I was busy working so much. I mean, she had a lot of other responsibilities. Now she's engaged in the business full time. But how we built the business from the ground up, it was a combination of when I could afford it, when I could find the right person, and when I had outgrown myself. I couldn't clone myself. I couldn't work any more hours. Now, that doesn't have to be your reasons for doing it. Those just happen to be my reasons for doing it. But like I said, she also has came on as a trainer, very quickly became a manager, very quickly was like, okay, you're now the manager over both stores. So I mean, you could call that a GM, but I mean, she wasn't paid a whole lot and she wasn't really managing other than, three employees across two stores. And she was kind of my right-hand man when I was at work. And then when I wasn't at work, I rarely called her. I would just go out, leave dinner, whatever, and go out and deal with things myself. So I was kind of the GM, if that makes sense. She slowly but surely started helping me with the hiring and the firing and things like that as I gave her more responsibility. And I'm not sure when I gave her the actual title, but it was probably about 5 years in, which we would have had three stores or maybe just acquired our fourth at that point. But they were all low volume self-serve laundromats. Like I said, no drop-off laundry, very few employees at that point. And when we like shifted our model and really started scaling that out, that was when
Drop off when she became GM, but we
yes.
only had it at a couple of the locations.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it was an evolution. Your business model and your growth trajectory and your revenues and your margins and all that might be, drastically different than ours if you like jump right in from day one to be full service.
And
Where
sometimes
it was like a 5-year journey.
if you just find a person who would be so perfect for it and
Mhm.
you have to do that to keep them,
Yep.
sometimes you jump a little sooner because finding the right person is a big part of the battle.
Yeah, I always tell people, I mean, at the end of the day, you can't typically hire someone for something you can't afford. So the finances kind of have to come first, right? But I always point out to people, I was also kind of the exception to that. I kind of hired her. I didn't really give her all the responsibility. I tried to keep as much of the stress and anxiety and responsibility on me as possible for as long as possible, mostly because I couldn't afford it. I couldn't afford to pay her to take those off my plate. And as I gave her many raises, I was like, okay, now I feel like you're actually fairly compensated. These are now your problems. They're no longer mine. But she definitely took on way more responsibility than she was paid for many years. But the odds of you finding someone willing to do that probably aren't real high.
We
That's
also
that's not a
do
common thing.
we do a lot of incentive-based pay
Mhm.
with our management staff, especially. We do with our other staff too, as far as, when they do drop off, they get 10 cents a pound and stuff like that. But for our management staff to kind of, I guess we call it almost profit sharing or revenue sharing, is they are incentivized to help our company grow and they automatically are more highly compensated as our company grows. So, like our GM and assistant GM, literally they get, was it now
5 cents a
5 cents a pound
pound.
for every pound of laundry that goes through our entire company. So since they're over all four stores, they get 5 cents a pound for everything that they're in charge of. So they are highly incentivized to help our company grow. And it also automatically increases their pay as we increase our business, so they grow with us.
Mhm.
And then like our store managers, they get, I just blanked.
They get 20 cents a
Is
pound
it
for
20
drop off.
20 cents a pound for everything that goes through their store? So even if they never touch the laundry, they're responsible for managing that location, managing the quality control, managing the employees, making sure all the supplies are there, that the schedules are covered, all the shifts are covered, all that kind of stuff. So that's kind of their incentive. They really take ownership of their store. They're also even responsible for like decorating for the holidays. Like we really encourage them to kind of take that ownership and they very much do. They're like, "Oh, that's my store."
Yeah.
So there's some of that too that we build in that even when maybe we hire them on and we can't afford what they're really worth, um, they know their pay is gonna grow with us.
Mhm.
So there's some loyalty there. Like, okay, I'm in it for you all, and I'm gonna get the reward as you all grow. Also, when we stack on like big clients like Amazon, and our assistant GM is working her tail off, she also knows she's gonna be getting big bonuses. So it kind of makes it worth it when they land those big accounts because they're going to get a big paycheck. It's just not us getting all that additional revenue, but some of it's coming to them too. So
Yeah.
just
So
thought I'd
they
throw
don't
that in
own
there.
they don't own equity. They don't actually have profit sharing because they
Yeah.
get that 5 cents a pound whether we make a profit or
Yeah,
not,
I guess
right?
it's revenue
So
sharing.
yeah, we always say it's like an incentive structure, a bonus structure, or revenue sharing, if you want to call it that. But we've always done that from the beginning. I think we started it with just pickup and delivery because I had big ambitions to grow a substantial pickup and delivery business, and I thought, well, man, every pound of laundry comes in, her responsibilities and her stress level and the number of employees she has to hire and train and manage and finagle and all that is just going to keep going through the roof. So I joke with her to this day that, she has her salary, which she gets raises in that occasionally, but she has a company car and some other things like that. But about a third of her bonus or a third of her compensation is her bonus structure. And I always tell her, I hope someday you make $1 million. There's no ceiling to it. I hope someday you make $1 million because if you do, I probably made 20 million. And so when we do land a beast like Amazon, which doesn't happen every day, I mean, she is correct, Carrie, but honestly, the whole team are working their tails off
Mhm.
right now, and they're all excited to do it instead of being like, this stinks, instead of being disincentivized because they know that, like, for the Amazon, we get paid by the piece. So their bonus isn't 5 cents a pound. We don't get paid by the pound. But for example, their bonus is a penny a piece. And to give you an idea, we've hired like 8 employees in the last week that are in the back doing nothing but sorting and counting these pieces. And so they're running through hundreds of pieces every 15 minutes. And that's all going right to Carrie and Marlene's bonus structure, right?
And
So
the
when we
and the
bring
person
in,
doing it
and
too.
the person,
They
they
get the
get a
bonus
bonus
too.
too. Yeah. So we'll share all that with you in the workshop in a lot more detail, and you'll get to see it in person. Um, but it's a lot for sure. Like Carla said before, some of you joined, we have a structure that works really well for by the pound pricing for residential and even commercial, and we have a structure of how we bid out commercial accounts that we share with you in the workshop and all those things. But even this Amazon thing was just a took on of a life of its own. And so we had to just kind of use the rules that we've applied to building these other structures, but also kind of tear up the rules and be like, hey, everything is new, everything is unique, everything is different. But we had to go back to our labor rates and our compensation. We knew, okay, if we're paid by the piece, you're not getting paid by the pound. You're going to get paid by the piece too, and we had to kind of bake that into the cake. So it's it's a lot for sure. But what I tell people in like coaching calls and things like that is, when do you need a GM? It's usually when you're at your wits' end and you can afford to pay them. Like you're working, you can't work any harder or any more, and you can afford to pay them. Now, a lot of times you bring in a store manager like a Marlene, and then you elevate them, you promote them, you coach them into being a GM too. And that's kind of what's happened with Marlene. She started as, honestly, she actually started as just an attendant.
Mm.
And within like 2 months, she was a trainer. And within 2 months, she was a manager. Mostly just because I could trust her. Um,
Well,
and
and
we
she's
kind
a
of
hard
taught her the
worker.
business.
She's smart,
Oh, yeah,
and,
for sure.
and there's a lot of reasons.
Yeah, for sure.
So
Anyway,
Nick has a question.
yeah.
Any advice for first timers going to the clean show? You want to make the most of this event.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
It is a lot. I'll give you the quick version, and then I'll also tell you, Nick, that we did a whole podcast on this.
We did
So
on
go check
different
that out.
industry events, but there was a
Yep.
focus section on
We
the clean
focus. We
show.
spent about half, I think, about half the show just on the clean show. What I always tell people is the clean show, for the most part, is broken up into three categories or sections. I think it's kind of unintentional, but the clean show itself, the trade show floor, is open 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. every day, and that's when you actually are in the conference center. Or in the trade center, and you're actually visiting booths and collecting pens and going around the different booths and seeing all the cool technology and all that stuff. That's the actual clean show itself, right? But before the clean show, every day from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m., there are what they call educational sessions, and they're basically similar to like panel discussions, keynote speakers that you would see at an industry conference, right? And those are in different classrooms throughout the trade show, but not on the trade show floor. They're like out in the hallway and up the steps, if you know what I mean, that kind of thing. And some of them, depending on the size of the classrooms, will hold 700, 800, 900 people. And it might be one keynote speaker on one particular topic, speaking to 700 people. It might also be a panel discussion on a particular topic, like pickup and delivery, or it might be more niche than that, like just on logistics, right? As an example. And those are put on typically by the different trade organizations. So the dry cleaning industry has several trade organizations. The laundromat industry has a couple trade organizations, and they'll all kind of staggered have different speakers and put them on at different times. And so if you look online, those schedules are pretty much already out.
That's what I was
So
looking to see.
one of the things I
Looks like
recommend
they're
people
all-
do is instead of sleep until 9:30 and go into the trade show floor, get up at 7 and have breakfast and be there by 8. And usually you typically an hour long. So you can usually go to one from 8 to 9 and another from 9 to 10. But you'll have three or four to choose from, right? So you can't go to them all. So the trade show itself is kind of the meat and potatoes of why we're there, but the educational sessions are every morning for 4 mornings. So if you hit two of them, 1 hour sessions every morning for 4 mornings, that's eight educational sessions that you've attended, and you're probably going to learn a lot in that period of time. Some of them are much smaller and not as popular to be attended, depending on the subject or the speaker. Some of them are, like I said, there will be 800 or 900 people in there and one keynote speaker, depending on who it is and what the topic is. So that's the kind of the second session to it, is the pre-show educational sessions. And then after 5 p.m. each night, there's usually more than one. You could call it a dinner, you could call it a happy hour, you can call it a meet and greet, whatever. They're all different. And they're usually sponsored by the different companies. So like Clean Cloud and Curbside and Alliance and the CLA and Sense and, different companies like that. And they're all pretty much invite only. So very few of them are just like open door, anybody can show up. But some of them you have to buy tickets for, and they can be several $100s for like a big fancy dinner. And then some of them are you have to get a ticket or you have to RSVP or register, but they're free. And it's just like, hey, we have room for 300 people. The first 300 people that sign up can come to this. And so that's the after hours after 5 p.m. each night. You can do your own networking, with just people or people you meet, and you just go out to dinner. And there will be people that do that. Just a group of 5 couples go out to dinner, and there's 10 people, and it's not sanctioned. Everybody's paying their own way. But a lot of people attend these bigger dinners because you can network. A lot of times there's 2, 3, 400 people at these dinners. And so you can kind of work the room and meet new people and establish relationships or build new relationships and things like that. But those things are usually paid for by the company. So like Sense and Eastern Funding combined together to do one. And so they're both I'm not sure how many people will be there, but
There's a
that's
Saturday night.
yeah, that's an example of one that's free, but you don't have to be an Eastern Funding customer or a Sense customer to go. It's free. You just have to register, as an example. And that's kind of the third aspect of the show is the after hours networking. And that's the more formal side of things is those three things. But as you can imagine, there are people that, meet friends or make friends or already have friends they haven't seen in years. And, they go out drinking at the bars till 4 in the morning, type of
Some
thing.
people take a couple days off
Yeah,
and go
some
to Disney
people,
World.
yeah, for sure. Some people go to the show for 1 or 2 days, and even though the show is 4 days long, they'll go to the show for 2 days. They'll see everything they need to see, and then they'll zip off to Disney World. Or, like I said, they'll go out to the bars and sleep in all morning or whatever. I mean, it's kind of whatever you make of it. But I always tell people those are kind of the three categories of the value proposition of the show. And one of them is the actual show, one of them is the educational sessions, and then one of them is kind of the networking opportunities that are out there.
If you are going, I was checking to make sure they already have it. I don't know if you can see the glare. But anyway, there is an app for the Clean Show. It's like Map My Clean Show or whatever. But if you just go into your store and do Clean Show 2025, and you'll see it's the emblem in that kind of like a minty green color with the Clean Show logo. If you download that app, you could go ahead and start kind of planning what you want to see because it has the floor plan. So you can see where the booths are and you can kind of mark out, okay, I have a half hour here. I want to see this, and this booth, and they're kind of close together or whatever. It says it has the education sessions. And I think how it works is you can actually kind of save and make your own little plan, your own little agenda within it.
Yep.
So I would encourage you, if you really want to make the most of your time, is to look into that ahead of time and kind of go in with a plan. And if you end up, networking and stuck at a booth a little longer, you might have to adjust the plan that day. But
Yep.
I would do that ahead of time.
And one thing I will caution you on too, since you asked Nick, and this is for everybody, is I mean they have food courts where you can buy sandwiches and Chick-fil-A and pizza and all that stuff, kind of like a professional sporting event. And they're pretty much run like a professional sporting event. Like you're like, oh, I'm going to step out and grab a piece of pizza for lunch and then zip right back in and I want to go over to this booth. And you'll freaking stand in line for an hour and a half. Like it's insane.
It's a long line for crappy
So
food.
yeah, and it's overpriced, typically, kind of typical. So just know that, you can leave and go back, and sometimes it's even quicker than eating there. But that's an aspect of it too. So that's what I recommend people do, taking a look at it. Oh, you're welcome, Nick. No problem. But yeah, that's what I recommend people. Carla was mentioning get the app or just take your notes, on your phone or a piece of paper, whatever, and kind of organize your thoughts because you should be at this point. All the educational sessions should be announced, the dates and the times, the rooms they're in. A lot of times it'll even say the capacity of the room or what room number, and you can look that up. But I recommend. I mean, if I'm honest, I can't say I get a ton of value out of the educational sessions anymore because I've been to every Clean Show for 15 years. But I can tell you that early on in my first like 5 years in the industry, I got a ton of value out of those. And the same thing from the conferences. When you go to the conferences, nowadays it's like, okay, I can only hear somebody talk about pickup and delivery so many times. Like I've heard it
You
all
still
and I
get
know what
little
works for
nuggets
me.
here and there.
Yeah, and you'll
Yeah.
pull out little golden nuggets, but they're not as valuable to you after 15 years, of course, as they were when you were in year one. You walk
I'd
into
say
everything.
things just change. What's of value? Maybe the pickup and delivery isn't super valuable, but we're gonna probably learn some stuff about these folding robots.
For sure.
I know Craig and Michelle have
Yep.
some info on that too.
Yep.
So two things change. As things change in the industry, you learn about new products, new services, and all that kind of stuff. So it changes what you learn, I
Yep.
guess, too.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so we are burning through the time here. I want to make sure I get to at least a few questions for each of you. So if we haven't gotten to one yet, either raise your hand physically, the emoji, post in the comments, whatever
Greg's
it
ready to
is.
talk. Are you going to talk
Um,
to us? Have you all
Greg, are you
got a
chocolate
robot,
chip?
right? One of the folding robots from, is it the Dyna
Yeah,
one?
it's
Dinah,
it's
yeah.
Dinah.
Okay.
This will be a sneak peek.
And we're
Hoping
actually going to be doing a Q&A live with them
Yep.
at the
you
show
see it.
from their booth. I
Can
can't,
you
I'm
see it?
looking.
I can see it
Oh,
off the
yeah, I
side,
can see it.
the black and white.
Yeah, if you look
Yeah.
at kind of that white square, it's like in the bottom
It's
right corner.
in between the square,
Okay.
to the right of the flower.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, so it's actually independently folding right now. But we're gonna be
We will, yeah,
we'll be at the
there.
Dyna booth
Booth.
supporting them and hoping to see you, Dave and Carla, there at the Queen
We'll be
Show.
there.
Yeah, we're working on the branding of this thing and launching it around the Labor Day weekend. And we've kind of been sworn to secrecy until the Clean Show on this innovation. But I think we're the first laundry in all of North America to have one in production. It's actually folding one of our clients' towels right now.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Like a lot
Can
of
it-
them.
Very cool.
Can it do all the different types of materials? Like, does it sense like what type of thing is it? Or do you have to tell it this is a pile of towels and it does towels, or can it only do towels? Like,
We
Right-
haven't.
Right now, they're only doing towels, and they're all kind of I don't even want to say the same size because the EDD one's different sizes. There's different sizes, but right now there's training on towels. It's done t-shirts. I know they said they can do pants, just not the super long towels or the long pants yet. So
okay.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, it's very cool. And I don't know this for sure, but I suspect that they will not be the only AI robotics company at the show. I'd be floored if there's not 4 or 5. I don't know that for sure.
Mhm.
I'm just totally guessing technology and AI advancements and things like that. But yeah, I've had several meetings and conversations with the Dyna team, and we're going to do a live stream from their booth. If you follow me on social media, we shared a whole itinerary of what booths we're going to be at and when we're recording a podcast and when we're live streaming, and we're doing a book signing at our booth, the Wander Boost booth.
It was on the email that came out yesterday.
Yeah, it was on an
too.
email blast that we sent out too. So if you're on any of our newsletter email list or you're following me on social media or anything like that, we've been trying to share it in that way too. So just we'll be running around like chicken with our head cut off at least the first 2 days. We're hoping the third day we get to actually like be attendees and like go around and see booths like for real, like a regular owner.
Well, actually, our assistant GM Carrie
Yes.
is coming with us, so she's
Yep.
she's our person who's
ears.
supposed to get educated there because we have trouble getting to everything. So yeah, you'll get to see Carrie.
She'll be wandering around. She'll have more free time than we will.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, very cool, guys. Very cool. Can't wait to learn more about it.
Definitely innovation. It's kind of like we have washing machines, dryers, and now a folding machine.
Yep.
Mhm.
It certainly doesn't replace our staff. It's just augments their ability to do things.
Yeah.
A lot of the first thing we had our staff meeting, and the first thing came out of one of the tenants' mouth was, "Am I losing my job?" And it's like, no, you're not. You're required to feed it and then take what's produced out of it and still pack. And it only currently it's doing a small amount of the overall laundry spectrum.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I think almost all the towels from us. So which is great. So that's how bottleneck. That's where the bottleneck is. So my just start another load and back and just stack the towels and don't even have to do anything. It's like perfectly stacked. We just need to take what it's already stacked and put it in the bag. So
it's very.
How much space does it take up in your laundromat there?
Unfortunately, this one needs to be guarded from the public. So it'll be I'm still building out the plexiglass and this will all be finished and painted. But it's taking the space of, I estimate, 6 washing machines. But that's because we're putting it behind a barrier.
Yeah.
And that barrier, we need space to roll a cart in, and we can't have the public grabbing it.
Right.
We're space constrained in that. But if you were designing a laundry, you would set up a robotics section that's from the public.
Or like Superstars has theirs at the back.
Yeah, Super Suds, they're doing R&D and it's in the back.
Of the store.
It's not even out with the public.
Yeah, but ours is out in the public where everybody can see. So
yeah.
So that's a little different, so it needs a little bit
Very
more.
cool. Very cool. And
How
this,
size-wise does that compare to like the full text machine? So the full text machine can do everything, as I understand it. You just have to put what type of item it is and then feed it. Um, do you know how big those are as far as the space they take up?
I understand they come in different sizes, but they're very,
Okay.
very large,
Yeah.
much larger than this
Oh, yeah.
system.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And they need a lot of infrastructure that this system wouldn't need.
Yeah.
Like it needs air,
Yep.
Mhm.
air pressure. You
Let
need
me
it.
sign in and see if I
Yeah.
can.
Anyway, I guess if I had to ask you a question, Dave and Carla,
Yeah.
as usual, how do we get more customers into the store? Part of the idea of the folding machine is to generate a lot of energy and a lot of excitement, and oh, she's logged out. And basically get.
It's me. It's me. It's me.
I'm not sure why I just did that, but there you go. So the question is really around.
What about even like advertising?
Hey,
I have an echo.
You mute her. Mute Michelle.
Okay.
I mean,
There, I just muted her.
Okay.
I think
Sorry about that.
I might have muted
Go ahead,
you.
Craig.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Sorry about that. It's called feedback.
Yeah.
Anyway, the question is around, we're targeting right around Labor Day to do the Big Bang.
Mhm.
I already have Sacramento Bee, which is one of the oldest newspapers in all of Sacramento. They're interviewing us. They're going to come down here. I'm going to try to get the news, like Good Day Sacramento, down to film. I mean, we're generating a lot of energy around this. You know, Dave, Carla, I asked to be on your podcast. I'll get that submission in, and probably those are laundry podcasts though. It's not
Yeah.
really. I'm thinking about also reaching out to local podcasters that are very, influential in in Sacramento region, and get our message out there. All with the idea of just generating buzz and excitement of people coming in and maybe saying, hey, they can do my laundry and I take that chore off my list, they'll sign up.
Yep.
And that's kind of the concept. I have a marketing plan in place that I'm thinking of, but what are your thoughts? I mean, this
I
just
would
opening
my initial thought is what about some reels, like some TikTok type, Facebook, like the short form video content is really popular. And I think that the people who would like the robot would be interested in it, especially if you made it fun, like had someone racing the robot to fold stuff and just like kind of be creative with some content locally. You could even have people come who thinks they can fold faster than this robot or whatever. And I don't know how fast it is, if that's even feasible, but doing some fun content around it. How would you like your underwear folded by a robot? Like that.
Yeah, those are great ideas. I, as of Sunday, created our TikTok account, and that's a completely different demographic than Facebook, Instagram, and all that. So, and I've got a marketing guy coming in this afternoon. I'm going to unleash him on that account and just start pumping content.
Yeah.
I totally agree that those are great. And I've been taking 15-second videos around the store.
Mhm.
We're kind of being kind of sneaky at this point. We're not releasing the robot. That's not until the clean show that we'll announce it for the laundry.
I can go in. Let me see if I can.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, what I would just add on to that, Craig, is those are all great ideas, and the more of those, I mean, if you remember back to like the workshop, Craig and Michelle attended our workshop, just so everybody knows. That was around pickup and delivery, but the same concept applies to marketing. So I always tell people, I always segment it into advertising and marketing. Advertising is like brand building, awareness, letting them know that Queen City Laundry exists when they maybe didn't know Queen City Laundry exists. And then there's marketing, which I see that as a separate category and a separate budget. So if we have a marketing and advertising budget, we try to spend about 25% of our budget on awareness, letting people that didn't know Queen City Laundry existed know that we exist, right? And then we try to spend about 75% of our budget assuming that they know we exist and they know what we do, and that letting them know why they should choose us over our competition. And those would all be segmented ads or promotions or even reels based on what product or service, because the worst type of marketing you can do is none. The second worst type of marketing you can do is very vague marketing. We're Queen City Laundry. We're the best. Come see us today, right? I literally told you nothing. right? Of course, I'm the owner. I'm going to say it's the best, even though we're probably not, right? And so everybody's just going to be like that's not going to do anything for them. But if you're marketing around a specific category like pickup and delivery, and you're talking about what we call your market differentiators, what makes you different than your competitors, if you don't have many competitors, then you might want to spend more money on awareness, letting people know that the segment of pickup and delivery exists. The same thing applies to dry cleaning. What makes you different than any other dry cleaner? Self-serve. What makes you different than any other self-serve laundromat? And when it comes to all of those, like for self-serve as an example, you can do an awful lot of marketing and campaigns around your facility. And you should, letting them know the big investment that Craig and Michelle have made in the facility and how beautiful it is and the new machines and all the things you've done, right? And then you can also do it around your operations, right? What operationally makes you different than a competitor? Even if they, in theory, have a nicer facility than you, which they probably don't, but even if they did, what makes your team better than them, right? If you have 1,000 5-star reviews and 300 of them around how amazing your customer service is, right? 5-star customer service and you can drill down within each of those categories, the facility and the operations, as far as you can possibly get to we offer 3 different levels of dry cleaning. We offer a 3 to 4 day turnaround time. We offer a next day turnaround time, and we offer a 4 hour turnaround time, right? For dry cleaning, as an example, you would not want to run one campaign that says, "Oh, we have these 3 things." You would want to run them based on the effectiveness, excuse me, of each of those campaigns, if that makes sense. And so as you start to as you separate out your budget of, like I said, roughly 25% advertising, 75% marketing, then you decide, where am I going to spend that 75%? And the truth is, it should be a moving target. You shouldn't be trying to spread out $750 as an example a month onto 50 different types of services and features that you offer. It should be rotating and changing. And one of the things that, which we've talked about this, I think before, Craig, one of the things we recommend you do when you're still fairly new to the industry, which you guys are, is try to get that self-serve built up. That's your low-lying fruit. That's the easiest money that's out there.
The
And
clicks
so,
are a lot cheaper.
yeah,
Like
a
the
lot
Google,
cheaper.
the clicks, and then do best bang, do the GBP booster,
Uh-huh.
do your Google ads, and then some Facebook retargeting.
Yep.
That's kind of the magic.
And
mix.
that's just in the digital marketing world. I mean, you get outside of digital marketing, there's other opportunities. You can do TV commercials, radio commercials. I mean, you can do all kinds of stuff. You can do flyers and door hangers and, yard signs. And I mean, there's all kinds of things you can do depending on what's effective and what works for you, trying to find those customers that are out there. But, the old adage in marketing is true. And I think a lot of times as small business owners forget this. And what I mean by that is, anywhere from 4 to 13 touch points is typically what it takes for a conversion. So I think we're all a lot of times really naive in thinking that I'm going to run an ad on Google and they're going to see it the first time they've ever heard of Queen City Laundry, the first time they ever knew pickup and delivery existed, or that Monster Laundry existed, and they're going to click on it
It's a
and that
folding
day,
robot.
right? And then that day they're going to come into our store. Now they might for some type of novelty like that and just think this is the coolest thing ever, and it may be on TikTok before you put it there, right? But when it comes to driving actual customers into your store that are going to doing laundry and not creating buzz, which are a lot of times 2 separate things, they're all good, they're all effective. What I would caution you is to try to do too much too quickly, unless you just have a unlimited budget, right? But I mean, even a few $1,000s a month in the world of digital marketing is just not a lot of money, especially if you're, not a professional digital marketing and you're paying companies a management fee. There's the management fee comes out of that. Then there's your ad spend and things like that. But as a general rule of thumb, if you have which you guys do in this case, a newly retooled laundromat that's beautiful, and you would assume that most of the community doesn't know you exist, and if they know you exist, they don't know how great it is. That's where I would be spending 100% of my marketing dollars right now, is trying to get self-serve customers into the store. Once,
Now you do have that extra differentiator of a folding robot.
sure,
So
absolutely.
add that on as one of your marketing campaigns.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure. I mean, whenever you have permission to do that or whatever, but that's what I would focus on. And then once again, if you have a big enough marketing budget, you can always do a percentage of it for self-serve, which is your kind of low-lying fruit. And then, pickup and delivery and things like that is kind of playing the long-term game. You can put a certain amount of, let's say 20% of your budget goes to pickup and delivery, but you're not going to get as quick of a return on investment on that. And even around pickup and delivery, are you trying to get towels from Orange Theory Fitness? Are you trying to get the next Amazon to bring you 25,000 pounds a month of PPE? Or are you trying to get mom and pop Jones down the street from us to give you their household laundry for a family of five? Those are all very different avatars, very different customers. And how you get engagement and awareness with them is going to be unique and different. And you're probably not going to run one ad and be successful with any of those things. You're going to have to target those different campaigns and products and features for a fairly long period of time before you're going to get traction. So a lot of people get distracted very quickly. They spend a few $1,000s a month on Google ads for residential self-serve, and they don't have any new customers or not many new customers, and they give up, and then they take the money and put it over here. They fire their marketing agency, or they were promoting their self-serve facility, and then next thing you know, they're running ads for drop-off laundry. And like I said, if you have a budget big enough to do that, you can do that all at once. But usually most of us small business owners have to kind of pick and choose. And so I like to run campaigns for anywhere from 6 to 9 months before I really decide if that campaign worked. And a lot of people just run campaigns for 6 to 9 months of Google ads, and they say, oh, I only got 10 customers in 6 months. That was a bad ad spend. And what I always tell people is, well, you don't know. They might be on their fourth, they might be on their ninth marketing campaign that you've hit on them, and they might be getting ready to convert, and you abandoned that campaign right before they converted.
But you have to make the decision at some point
Oh, for sure.
of is this working or not,
Absolutely.
too.
Absolutely. And that's why we have people typically focus on self-serve, is the conversion rate is much quicker for those. Most people know that a laundromat exists. That's not a new thing. Now, I always say a lot of times they don't know that your laundromat exists. They don't know that a modern laundromat exists, right? And even the differentiators, if they know it's a beautiful laundromat, okay, that's a pretty broad category. What does that mean? You know, telling them about all your market differentiators. I mean, you saw in the handbook, Craig, I mean, we have like 30 different market differentiators depending on the competitor that are out there. And we might be running campaigns and marketing ads based on one particular type of competitor too. If a competitor is by the pound and all of a sudden they roll out a by the bag campaign, then I'm going to run marketing campaigns based on why I think buy the bag is better for the consumer, just as an example. And so some of it is, are you focusing on a particular competitor? Are you focused on a particular avatar? There's a lot to it. And it can seem a little overwhelming, and it kind of is. But if you're working with a marketing team that can help you kind of drill those things down, I mean, a lot of times the marketing company is going to be like, okay, you have this much budget, and what customers are you trying to go after, right? And they can give you some advice of, oh, I don't know that I do pickup and delivery if you don't have this much budget for self-serve or et cetera. But then when you break those things down, if you don't tell your marketing team, hey, we really want to focus on this one competitor that's kind of eating our lunch right now, and these are 3 things that we do better than our competitor, that marketing agency isn't even going to know that the competitor exists if you don't tell them. Right. And that's where it's a very nuanced approach. It can still be done for you marketing, meaning the marketing agency is actually running the ads, but they're not going to know about those differentiators. That's not really what you're paying them for. You have to participate in that process. So I don't know if that's helpful. I know it's a little bit long-winded, but the truth is there's a ton to it. It's very nuanced. Definitely always play the long game, but definitely always track your, return on ad spend and things like that too. But it can be really hard to do in a 3 to 6 month window, because a lot of times you might be getting ready to get a return on investment and then you abandon the campaign or something like that. So it looks like we actually had a
Craig was
couple
gonna
more.
comment.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Craig.
Go ahead, Craig.
Good. Do you want to see the robot?
Oh, yeah,
bit?
real quick. Yeah.
So,
I'm guessing we're not the only ones that want to see it. I've seen it, but I'm guessing everybody would love to see it.
It's not currently running, but she's gonna.
Oh, so I see how much space
You need
you.
to
Yeah.
unmute. Carla, can you unmute her?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, she
Yeah,
just did.
that's the robot, and then that's how much space kind of it needs.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So it really doesn't, maybe I'm looking at it wrong.
The
It doesn't
body
need
of
to,
it actually
Yeah,
takes up
and
some
then-
room,
yeah.
but then it's the room
But
to
the-
like roll the carts in and around it, and then all the table area.
Yeah,
Good.
from it being a self-serve.
Oh yeah, thanks, Michelle.
She muted herself again. I don't know if it was on
That's
purpose.
might have been. I think she's walking back in with Craig. Craig, you're muted. Okay.
Yeah, I was just instructing. They're
Oh,
gonna run the robot and have it fold autonomously without the trainer doing the folding.
oh,
Um,
nice.
an example of that.
Very cool.
Yeah. While we're watching that, so we did have Esther wanted to know about what's the best campaign for a new laundromat. And I'm going to follow that up with a question, Esther. By a new laundromat, do you mean like, was it a pre-existing laundromat or is this a new facility that people do not know it exists? Like it's a brand new laundromat?
It was a dark store, so it's been closed for over a year, almost 2 years.
Okay. So you need to be telling people that you even exist because that kind of changes things. It also depends on like for Craig and Michelle, they had kind of a zombie mat as we call it in the industry. So a big part of their campaigning was about that it's changed, it's new, it's different. People knew there was a laundromat there, but they didn't know that it wasn't the same old laundromat. So you're actually going to have to teach your surroundings that this laundromat exists. So some ideas with that is first, you're going to want to make sure to get your Google My Business or now they call it a Google Business Profile. Get that up. You're going to want to start getting reviews to try really hard to get reviews in your store or even incentives to give reviews. Oh my gosh, we use like little QR codes around our laundromat to scan and give us a review. Our attendants have tap cards where they can tap their phone. If somebody says, "Oh, I love your laundromat," they can say, "Oh, if you tap your phone to this card, would you mind leaving us a review or whatever?" So you want to get those reviews up because that will help. And then I would say the Google Business Booster is like a digital way you can do it. We have a marketing company, Laundry Boost, that does that. It's probably one of the most cost-effective services, especially since yours is a location-based service. Pickup and delivery is more expensive to run campaigns on just because you're covering a larger area and the clicks because there's so many pickup and delivery companies out there now, they've become more expensive. But for self-serve and just to teach people that you're there, even drop off because you're limiting it more to a 3 to 5 mile area around your store, it's a lot cheaper to run those campaigns. So I would say my recommendation is to get that Google platform where you're starting to rank because you want people that are searching for a laundromat in your area to see you coming up first and you want to have strong reviews in the over 4 stars if at all possible. And then signage, good signage. Depends too if you're in an area where you're getting a lot of drive-by traffic. If not, if you don't have a lot of drive-by traffic, if you can even promote your location in other places, bulletin boards and things like that, places, or even if there's local areas around you. Dave, you want to expand on this? For it was not a laundromat before, it's been closed.
Yeah, I mean, Carla's exactly right. The first thing you have to do is let people know that you're now open because if it's been an abandoned laundromat, I assume it was, they probably know that there's a laundromat there, but it's also been closed. First thing you have to let them do is you're open again, but then they're going to automatically assume that you are the same thing it was before. And I don't know, but I'm guessing you've done some improvements to it to fix it up and paint it and make it nice and maybe even put
Website
new
with lots of
machines.
pictures
Yeah,
and the Google
lots of
page with
real
lots
pictures.
of real pictures.
Correct. Real pictures and real videos will go a long ways towards that. And then Carla is correct. Once you get them into your store, then the goal is to get them back, right? So I always say the first goal of any campaign is to get them for self-serve, get them awareness that you exist and make them want to come when laundry day exists. Then when laundry day arrives, you want them to come to your store and do laundry. Then when they leave, you want them to be happy and you want them to come back a second time. And our data shows us that 3 times we typically have earned a recurring customer at that point. So they're currently going, before you opened, they were going somewhere else and doing laundry. Now you have to get them to break that habit. And a lot of times there's incentive structures with that. So, like, for example, if you're a card system, offering a bonus of, 10, 20, 30, 50%, whatever, on a bonus. If I put $20 on a card, I get $30 credit. Very drastic measures of that will be things like double your money. I put 20 bucks on a card, I get 40, right? And promoting those things to the industry. If you have a card system, those loyalty card systems can be really powerful at getting people to come back. Because once they come once, if they still have $12 left on the card, they're probably going to come back a second time and use that $12 up. Um, and so the goal with any new laundromat is to make sure the community is aware that you are now open and that you are different than you used to be, whatever those differentiators are. Even a different brand. That's why you see uh, businesses that change ownership and things like that have under new management banners out front, right? You can do that digitally on your website, on your Facebook page, things like that, but you can also do it organically. Signs at the road, renting digital signs that you put out in the road, things like that. You need the community. Hopefully you get a good location and you get a lot of traffic as people drive by. Something as simple as new owners now open 24 hours or something like that. And you can change that up every week. You can have a new digital sign or a new banner that says, now open 24 hours, all new equipment, right? That'll typically get people's attention. But as a general rule, I love digital marketing. And the main reason why is because it's a very powerful tool. And I always say the truth is, like it or not, most of us are just sitting there with our noses in our phones all day long. That's society. And so I want to be what they're looking at. And the truth is, if I can be on their phone or on their streaming app or something like that, that's what I want to do to let them get the word out that you're there. And then, of course, any type of call to action. So anytime you run a campaign, you don't want to just run a campaign that's open-ended without any call to action. It sounds silly, but there's a pretty big difference when we A/B test the same ad with come in and get $20 off tomorrow versus just thanks for watching. At the end of a reel or something like that. So what you're trying to do is get people's attention. Some of the conversation we had with Craig and Michelle earlier is true. Anything you can do to create buzz, anything that makes you unique or different compared to either what used to be there or to your competitors, that's a big difference too. So I don't know if that's helpful. That's a super quick answer because we're out of time. But
I will
if
give
we
one thing
knew,
too. Like one thing we did when we opened a new store, and we waited until actually it was our 1 year anniversary because we wanted to streamline. And we have a podcast episode about this, but it's basically a celebration, like a thank you to our customers, as we did a free laundry day where they could come in and do their laundry for free. And what happened was there was enormous buzz, and a lot of people that hadn't tried our store yet heard from like their neighbor, "Hey, did you know this laundromat's offering free laundry today?" And so we just got slammed that day with a lot of new customers too,
Yep.
because they were incentivized to give it a try. So it kind of created buzz for us, and pretty cheaply. We did free washers, so they still had to pay for dryers. And actually, we did so much business that we even made more money that day than we did normally. It was like a Wednesday, which is a slow day. That store actually had more revenue than typical that day by the dryer revenue because it was so busy. So
yeah, on a Wednesday, we did like over 10,000 pounds of laundry basically by giving away the wash. And we generated more revenue that day from just the washers than we normally do the washers and dryers on a typical Wednesday. And we could see kind of a hockey stick moment of that growing. And that's a brand new store from the ground up, multi-million-dollar operation. So that's an example of the better product you have to offer and service you have to offer, the more you want them to come and experience it, right? So the way you get them to experience it is seeing videos and pictures and reels and things like she was describing earlier. That makes them want to come the first time. The experience that they had the first time makes them want to come a second time. And then, of course, if you're incentivizing them financially with big bill bonuses or double your money loyalty programs or 25% off of dry cleaning or anything like that is going to incentivize them to come back again. And then we talked about this several times in the last hour. Once they're there and they've used you once or twice and they're happy, they'll usually tell you how great you are. And your response to that shouldn't be thank you very much. It should be thank you very much. Would you be willing to give us a review? Right? Literally beg for them. They're already complimenting you. They're saying something very nice. The chances that they're willing to put that in writing, especially if you make it easy with like a QR code or a tap card or something like that, are very high. And those things magnify themselves out into the community in an insanely powerful way. So if you're a new laundromat opening from the ground up, which you kind of are, just having 10 5-star reviews is insanely powerful. Of course, having hundreds is better, but when you're new and you've only been open for a month, nobody expects you to have hundreds. But if you just have 5 or 10, 5 or 4-star reviews, saying how amazing you are, you'd be surprised how powerful that can be. So those are the things I would focus on in the early days. I don't know how long you've been open, but we could give you a more nuanced answer, like if I were actually coaching you or something, if we knew more about your business and how far you've come, and
What your
if you've done a,
differentiators are.
yeah, I mean, if you've done a,
location.
if you've done $1 million improvement to your store, there's a lot more we can do with that as far as promoting it to the community than we put new lights in, slap the coat of paint on the walls, and reopen the doors. So those are very different things too. And then of course, hopefully you're doing a lot of competitive analysis between your facility and your competitors, and you're looking at what are your market differentiators, and those are the things you want to promote to the community. If your competitor is coin and your card, then you want to promote how great cards are. If the opposite is true, you want to help promote how great coin is, right? And there are always pros and cons to everything. So you want to find those things and then put them behind a megaphone and shout them out. So hopefully that was a good answer for you. Just as a reminder to everyone before we let you go today, we are going to be at the Clean Show. I know we talked about it a little bit. If you are going to be there, we will be crazy busy, but we would love for you to come up and introduce yourself and say hi and shake a hand, wear huggers, take a picture, whatever, that kind of thing. So we hope to meet you if you are there. If not, keep engaging with us virtually, because that's what our platform is all about. If you're not aware, we have a podcast that has over 100 episodes now that is totally free to watch. And we think there's some pretty awesome content on those that can really help you to boost your business and improve it. A lot of our podcasts even address specific questions that were asked today, only we get a whole hour to answer just one particular topic or question. So they can be really helpful. And then
Well, and as part of your membership, you even have
Yep.
our searchable video library. So if you put in a topic, it'll pull for you specifically which videos
Yep.
discuss that topic.
Yep. And even kind of take it to the particular timestamp and things like that
Yeah.
to save you time. And then just as a last minute effort, if you don't know, we've been doing these membership Q&As every month for about a year and a half now. And so as you can see, they're an hour and a half long. And Carla tries to go in and timestamp these too. And so when you're in the community membership, you also get access to all the recordings from the previous Q&As. And there's a lot of good information on there. And then, of course, keep in mind, we're going to do this again next month. So we would love for you to join like you did today and ask us any questions you have. The best way to engage with us is live, but not everybody can do that. So if you go back and check out the recordings, I'm also posting a lot on social media, and I try to engage with people as much as I can in the comments. So if I post on a topic that interests you and you respond to a comment, I'll try to respond to you as best I can in that time. So those are just some of the resources that are out there for you from our platform. We're here to try to help you guys as much as we can. So I hope you got a lot of value out of this episode, and hopefully we'll see everybody in Orlando. All right. We'll see you guys next time. Take care. And if you're going to the show,
next month.
safe travels.
Bye.
See you guys.
Michelle.
Take care.
See you, John.